Don't you love when you build a new shop and you get to help your family out with maintenance on their cars? We got my mother-in-law's 2017 Ford Escape SE. It did what all these Fords do. My wife's Explorer did it, her Edge did it. The rotors start getting eaten up. They don't wear right. Same thing, the backsides get completely hashed out. This thing only has 32,000 miles on it. And it's one of these ones, it already had an engine put in it due to coolant consumption. It was leaking coolant into one of the cylinders, causing a misfire. We had to fight with Ford to do it because they kept adding coolant and turning the check engine light off after the misfires. They did not want to replace the motor in this thing. But that doesn't really matter too much at this point. But the brakes on this thing, they said they inspected it. Man, somebody got paid not to inspect it is what they did. There's no way any guy with a set of eyes would have inspected this thing. So I don't know about that, but what you have to do on these Fords, these 2017s especially, you have to put them in maintenance mode or parking brake maintenance mode. So what you have to do is turn the key on, not running, push the gas pedal down while you're simultaneously pushing down on the parking brake, shut it off, holding him, turn it on while you're holding him, and it will go into parking brake service mode. For the oil change on this thing, you have to turn it on and push down the brake and the gas pedal all the way down at the same time, and it'll come up with a little thing, oil change, reset, and it probably takes 30 seconds. So you got to do that. These things, they use like what is this? A 7mm Allen socket to take the calipers off after you push them back in, and a 15mm to take the brackets off. Make sure you clean the hubs up real well, because if you put a new rotor on there with all this rust that came up, it won't sit even on the hub and can lead to, run out and wheels coming loose, all kind of stuff. What I like to do on the center of the hub is put a little anti-seize, because these wheels always stick to these hubs. So you put a little bit on there. You don't go crazy with it. You just put a little bit on there. And the next time you got to take it apart, it's not so bad. So same thing. These pads, I mean, for just being inspected, come on, Ford. You guys got to do better. Meanwhile, they're trying to sell our air filters and stuff like that. I mean, I don't know. I know a lot of people are fighting and struggling to have employees right now, but this is bad. This should have never been let go. I mean, and looking around, when they put the engine in this thing, did they do some shoddy work. Let me, if I can get my flash, there it is. So, look at all the oil and grease slung around because they ripped the CV boot and didn't replace it. The same thing, I see an oil leak coming off, and it's off the power transfer unit. Sorry, I can't talk. It's early, it's cold, and I'm not super excited to be doing this. But they didn't even take the time to button up all the covers. They left fasteners out. I mean, this is just ridiculous. You know they had this apart to take the engine out because these engines come out through the bottom. They didn't even do an oil change on it, or reset the oil change reminder or anything. I mean, this just, I'm not impressed. I thought they were better than that. So what can you do other than, if we're not going to take it back to them, it took them 4 months to put an engine in this. They had the engine there for 3, and finally we just fought with them to the point where they finally got her in. They told her to keep adding coolant to it. Well, the problem with doing that is it starts fouling up the sensors and fouling up the catalytic converter. You can't keep adding coolant to these motors. It messes stuff up. And they said, oh yeah, we'll replace all that stuff, everything like that. You tell me that converter has been replaced. It hasn't. It's just, At this point, we were just happy to get her car back because they even fought about giving her a loaner, even though it was under the factory warranty. We've had a ton of problems with them. And then they brought it back, and they had even broken the engine cover. I mean, I just don't know what to say. And this lady, she does try to take good care of this car. She's very on it. I mean, it's, you know, she doesn't beat it up. She doesn't do anything like that. The most she does is run to town, go to the store, and come back. But I'll bring you guys back when I go. The other trick to these things is looking them up. There's a few different part numbers for rotors. So that's why we took them off, so we can go match them up at the parts store and not make 57 trips. But I'll bring you guys back once I get the new rotors, and we'll do the oil change and everything else too. All right, so we got our oil change done. We got our rear brakes and rotors done. Really not that hard. What I use on the calipers and slides and sides of the brake pad is Glide synthetic caliper lube, so it doesn't make any noise, so everything slides. Make sure you clean those, wire wheel them, or chisel them out, whatever. Now this thing is in service mode, so we have to take it back out. And to take it back out, you have to hold up while pushing the gas pedal with the key, turning the key on. The other thing is, once you do your brake pads and calipers, you compress them, make sure you pump up the brakes. Because I've watched quite a few people do a brake job and then almost not be able to stop because they didn't pump them up. But just, pump them up a couple times. That's all it takes. So all you want to do is hold down the gas, pull up on the parking brake when you turn the key on, and it should reset. back out of maintenance mode. This is kind of hard to do. So it says it's in maintenance mode. Now, turn it off. Turn it back on. There we go. Went off. Pumped them up. I heard it cycle. We're good to go. It's warning me that the hood's open, but I want to run it for a second, check the oil level, make sure everything's good. Cycle the parking brake. It's on. Cycle it. It's off. Good to go. And that's it. Hopefully my mother-in-law will be happy with it and give her some more miles without any trouble.